Then it says it heavily influences customers' loyalty and willingness to pay, with 95% of purchases often driven by subconscious evaluations. So that just tells us majority of the time when we making purchasing decisions, it all is driven by our mental and aspects of our mental that we don't even really always understand or notice. Um, and that's a big part of how we show up online, right? In associations and things of that nature. Um, and we'll get into that. And just an example based on that. So just right away, who is worth more? Who are you gonna pay? Who do you expect to pay more for what's being offered?
Man with the business suit on.
The homeless dude got a gold watch.
All right, all right, but how much do you think that watch is worth though?
People don't
I
think
don't
it's
know.
fake, but they will perceive him as being broke.
Right. And the whole time it could be real, but
Yeah.
but based on like how we perceive a homeless man versus how we perceive a businessman, we automatically make up in our mind that that watch that the homeless man has isn't worth as much as the watch that this guy, the businessman who's cleaning up, uh, has. Right. So the whole point of this is just to get y'all to like aware of that. If you can effectively brand and market yourself, you can influence perceived value and you can charge. Um, so that's all this is saying. How to influence perceived value, branding and marketing. Create a strong, reputable brand identity. So this is why I have you guys start with the brand identity so that you can understand how to position yourself online, uh, so that we can increase the perceived value. And this is um, so next I'm gonna just show y'all like how to increase the perceived value, right? Because everybody here we have valuable things to offer, but if people don't see it as valuable, then it doesn't matter. So the whole goal is just to see them, or since we're playing a personal brand game, they have to see us as valuable and then see what we're offering as valuable. But we are the first point of contact, right? So we want to show up like this guy and not like this guy. And it comes down to different factors, right? So the quality of your content, the the topics that you're speaking on, um, who you're associated with, what you're doing, whether you're speaking on stage or things like that, right? So the most important thing is that to understand your perceived value exists inside the mind of your customer. So it's all a mental game. It's all a game of perception and just influencing the mind of who it is that we're attracting. So back to the example of my mom, like my mom, she doesn't, I wouldn't, I wouldn't create content and care about what my mom thinks because I understand she's not somebody who's going to value what it is that I'm offering. So I'm not speaking to her. She's eliminated from my target customer who I have in mind when I'm creating content. Now, business owners, entrepreneurs, I'm thinking about, okay, what do these people resonate with? How do I connect with these people? How do I get them to trust me? Um, so this is like people they'll get online and they'll have like these, what do you even call that? Like they'll be scared or hesitant to post depending on what somebody that might think a friend, a relative, um, or just random people who really have nothing to do with what we're going for, and we're we're stopping our content process with these people in mind. The whole time, these people will never buy from us. These people could really care less about what it is that we're trying to achieve here. But when we understand, the more that we can understand the people we are trying to relate with, the better we can create our content. Um, so one thing you always want to just keep in mind, like again, it's a mental game. So you got to understand what are these people subconsciously asking, right? Is this person worth my time? my attention, and my money. Like all these questions right here is what is consciously being asked in the mind of your customer. Um, so is this person worth my time, attention, and money? Is this person trusted? Does it really work? Do I even value this? Um, so when we create content, the question that we should be asking ourselves is not what content do I make? It's more so, how do I show them I'm worth the investment? How can I show them that I'm trusted? How do I show them this works? Who are the people who actually value this? And how do I attract more of that person? The more effectively we can create content centered around these questions, the better, the more influence we'll have over our customer and increasing their perceived value. So in order to do that, this is where positioning comes in. So positioning and marketing is the strategic process of shaping how target customers perceive a brand or product relative to its competitors, right? So once we finally understand who we're talking to, we got to understand, well, who we're talking to and what they want. We got to understand we're not the only person who can offer that solution. So now it's like, how do I distinct myself from everybody else in the same space as me? Shaki, you have a great positioning right now. So with you showing single mothers how to, fix their credit and get their taxes right, like you because you selected that nuance of single mothers, now you have positioning that's more unique than your competitors. For example, if somebody like they just kept it general, I do credit repair and funding. Okay, it's a lot of people who do credit repair and funding. So now when they create their content, it's so broad that it doesn't really connect with a specific person. With what you got, you can shape your content and connect to this person in specific ways because it's so niche down, right? So single moms, now you can speak to different things that single moms go through throughout their day. You can create different hooks around, that nuance of being a single mom. So now your content strategy is more tailored. And now you can get a bigger pool of this person. So like people, like they have a hard time narrowing down because they think they're excluding other people and they think that it's going to stop them from making more. But actually, since you're targeting like a internal identity, you actually get more of that specific person, which actually works in your favor, and you drive more business from that identity. Um,
Yeah, I was gonna chime in and say that from the bot, it told me all that, like what kind of woman I'm looking for, what's her emotional triggers, and
mm-hmm,
how I convict her, and how I could be myself, because they don't want somebody who all flashy and front they move. Well, I ain't gonna say front they move, but you know what I mean. Like
mm-hmm,
they scared of the people who popping their shit right now because they ain't popping theirs yet. So if
mm-hmm.
I keep it real and just get them the game, then that's what they want to do. That's what they're gonna do. So that's why I
Exactly.
said that bot was bomb. Like it went deep, and it's like I ain't like the way you just put it, perceive and all, target and knowing the game. So I'm talking to the broke single moms, but I ain't on no bullshit. I'm really trying to help them get better because that's where I came from.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's good. And then like that's good because it's gonna be people who are attracted to the opposite, right? So it is gonna be people who's attracted to the flashy stuff and the flex and all that stuff. But that just tells you those aren't the people who are gonna relate to you. Those people are for somebody else. That's for a different person with a different niche, and a different brand. Um, so an important part of this right here is it defines the unique, memorable space a company occupies in the customer's mind. Um, that's very important, right? So, Saki, so you get to occupy a specific part in that person's mind because because you connect to how they identify themselves. So it's like I like to think of branding like literally the same way as like how farmers brand cows, right? So they print them with the hot iron. It's the same thing with branding, personal branding. So when you show up as that identity repeatedly, it imprints in the customer's mind, and you take up you occupy a space in their mind, literally. So you're branded into their mind. It's just a matter of you consistently showing up in that way. Um, so then we have key aspects of marketing positioning. Um, it's not just what you do, but how you are perceived by the customer. Um, so for example, Amir, with you, it's like it's a lot of people who have production companies with good work. So when it comes to you, and we talked about this a little bit, how you can separate yourself from everybody else is just simply by connecting on a deeper level, right? So when you understand your customer and you understand their beliefs and how your personal beliefs align with them, when you share your personal beliefs and mix that with the production and the quality, now you get to get now you set yourself apart because you're resonating on a deeper level, which increase your perception. Let me see. Competitive different. I cannot say that word. Competitive differentiate. I can't say it. Competitive. Y'all know what it is. It answers why customers should choose your product over the others. Pretty much the same thing I just said. Um, it guides all marketing decisions, including messaging, pricing, and product development. So essentially, all that's saying is when you know your position, you can be strategic on, like, for example, say you were to collab with another influencer. Now you understand that when I collab with this person, I can see the different relatable factors in my positioning and theirs and how I relate to their audience. So now it's like I can be strategic on who I'm partnering with. I can be strategic on the the messaging that I'm using in my ads or on my landing page, or even pricing, right? Shaki, you say you talking to people who may not always have the money. So with you, your strategy might be to take them up a ladder, right? So you start with a low ticket. Once you start getting the results there, you do mid ticket. You get them results there, then you go high ticket, right? So you just want to really understand who that person is, and then your positioning, and then base your products off of that. So it's really just a game of mental associations, right? So if I even just pull up my page,
So Keon, I gotta get out that mindset thinking like, a little bit too much of my feelings when it comes to business. So I was when I had did my bot, it was like just do $100 consultation just to know so they can know that so you can know that they serious, basically charge them $100 to even talk to you. But I'm thinking like who go really pay to talk to somebody? Like I'm thinking kind of like how I be with people sometimes. But then I thought about how you said when you perceive the value different,
right,
I pay for what I think gonna really have results for me. So I gotta like kind of flick the switch off of being a consumer and then get into the psychology of things. Because like when they had advertised for advice that I charge $100 for consultation, I was like, wait, am I really gonna do that? Like it kind of
yeah.
had me thinking like I shouldn't do that. So
Well,
like pricing for struggling moms is kind of hard for me because I be wanting a discount. You know what I'm saying? I be wanting shit to be cheap, but I
yeah,
think about it too. Like I have a career, most people don't. So it's like I got a little money to do certain things that the average mom can't do.
yeah,
So
So
you see what I'm saying?
and
But they get their money in there buy other shit too. So I'm like, if it's important, that's why I told the person like I don't want anybody who pays don't want to spend that money. Like if they really want to change their life, they're gonna spend that money.
right,
See what I'm saying?
right. And then that comes down to your marketing too, right? So if you market effectively enough, they're gonna want to pay you. even if it's just for a consultation. So you really, it's really a matter of how bad do you really want it, right? So if you can effectively in your content and in your marketing speak to the desired result, the pain points that they're going through, uh, and really showing them like why they need this, they're gonna want to pay you. And to your point of your like your own limiting beliefs, you got to think that's not all the way true. Like you, I'm sure you've paid. I mean, you paid me, so like the person who wants it bad enough, they're going to pay for it. Now, the person who's cheap, you probably don't even like you shouldn't even care to uh, appeal to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. Because I even dropped 10 with 5. So, yeah, you're right.
See,
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off of that. Um, it's when people pay, it's not even about the amount; it's about the mindset.
right?
When people are paying, and it's surprising, look at it like this: if I got to spend my last dollar on something, how serious am I gonna take it? If I don't got to spend nothing on it, do I even pay attention?
Right.
So if you're looking at it from the aspect of, all right, they're struggling mom, da 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 da. Yeah, but then you got to look at what they're spending their money on because they won't pay you; they're gonna pay somebody else. So it's perceived value. That's just like it's no difference between a Louis Vuitton book bag and a book bag out of Walmart. If you really want to be honest, if you're going in the airport, unless you know leather, a book bag is a book bag. But the perceived value of a Louis Vuitton bag is thousands of dollars compared to a Walmart book bag. So it's perception. So if you're free or you're cheap, it's like, do you even know anything? You must have just started. That's the first instinct of most people. So the same way you're like, oh, they're struggling, you got to look at how they look at you if you don't charge.
That's real. And you gotta, and it's something I had to learn in business too. You gotta really remove yourself from the equation, right? Like, you gotta really keep it business. Like, if you think, all right, if you think, dang, would I pay this? Or it's not necessarily about you. It's about, all right. So for example, I've done this early on, right? I would price my videography service really cheap, right? Because I'm thinking, dang, would I pay a videographer this much? But I don't have a reason to pay a videographer that much. Now, the person on the other end, they have a reason to pay that much because they're getting a return on their investment. They understand the value. They see, okay, I can take this content, put it online, attract my customer, get them to pay me 10 times what I just paid the videographer. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta sometimes you really just gotta remove yourself from the equation and really think about the value that the other person on the other end is receiving. Because sometimes with us being the person providing the service, we might not necessarily need the service. Um, but yeah, so to this point of mental associations, and this must mean that, right? So this kind of how our minds work. Um, if we when we see something positioned around something else, it we start to connect it. So like let's just say like neurons start firing up in our brains, like Jimmy Neutron. Like he'll have a brain blast. Like he sees something, he gets a brain blast. So like for example, if we look at my page, I got a picture of me with a microphone and me speaking, which triggers like in your mind, like okay, if he has a microphone and he must be on stage speaking. So this must mean, and then if we look at my page, right? Okay, you see a picture of me in Dubai, even this one right here. This must mean that. So if this dude is out here in Dubai, this must mean he must got something going on. Speaking on stage. Oh, he must have some type of influence. Friend of a mention. He must be getting some type of money. Um, oh, he's with him 500. This must mean he's trusted. So this is kind of how you want to look at it as far as perception. This must mean that. And even if, Like you can't see right now, but a lot of people in the industry, they follow me. So if all these people, big name people, follow him, that must mean he's trusted. That must mean he has some form of credibility. And then all of that goes into the perceived value of how people see me. And that all goes into what they're expecting my product or service is going to cost. Um, and then people will literally like eliminate themselves. So I know I've done it. Like if I know like this person is in a certain position, yeah, I got it in my mind that I'm gonna have to pay a bag for whatever it is that they talk about. So now if I'm like, damn, I don't got that right now, I'm not even about to hit that person up. Not at least not until I know that I can afford it. Whole time I never knew the price in the first place. But I just got it in my mind since this person is showing up like this and he's in this position, it must be pricey. So that's how we want to look at perceived value. All right. So this is from this weekend. And I just want to give a visual to what everything is that I'm saying, right? So who has the authoritative position here? Who has the highest perceived value in this
The person on the stage.
the person on the stage? But let's look closely in the crowd, right?
Oh, the people. Oh, okay.
But who's
500 again.
exactly? So in reality, who has the highest value?
500.
Exactly. But just off the picture and the positioning, we have the crowd, then we have the speaker on stage. The speaker on stage has a higher perceived value in this situation, just off
Oh, okay. Yeah.
just off of our minds and how we see things.
So that's a subconscious mind still talking for you type shit. Like you saw, oh, she must be important, but she the host. Of, like she the one who's talking right now.
Exactly.
Whoever on the stage is the one supposed to mean something. Versus no matter who's in the crowd, because even the famous people come and watch people that's on the stage that they interested in, or that they, what I'm saying, like they go watch games and fights and shit that they be famous in watching that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, okay, I got you. I get what you're saying.
Yep. So it all just comes down to perception, right? And then we take this online by just showing up in different ways. So it's a lot of different nuances that go into it. Quality of your content, who follows you, your number of followers, versus who you're following, your profile picture. Like it's a lot of different little nuances that can go into elevating your perceived value. But the whole point of this is like I just want y'all to understand the game that we're playing, right? So even like your testimonial. So the reason I even put these testimonials at the top is so I can answer that question of does this really work, right? So when they go to these videos and they see like, okay, it obviously he's gotten these people results. That answers a question: does it work? Yes, it works. So basically, just understand that we're playing a mind game. And it's so many different little nuances. So like, if we watch my most recent video, I basically was telling my story. But I did it in a way that it did a few things, right? It showed my journey. Um, it it gave me that relatability factor. So it gave people a chance to connect with me, um, and possibly see themselves. So somebody who might have been in the same situation or similar situation, they might see themselves in it. But I also tied in my results and what I do. So I let it be known that last year I had my first six-figure year, perceived value, elevated. Um, I show images of different people that I've worked with. So I had Him 500 in there. I had Darius in there. And then I had this clip. I had another clip where I was talking to what's his name, Aristotle. I had him in there. So like these different little nuances. I'm gonna play the video and just like point it out so you guys can kind of see like the method here. I was becoming somebody my future self would never respect. And if I didn't change something immediately, I was going to kill. Wait, can y'all hear this?
Yeah, we can hear.
Okay. Oh shoot, what a president. In 2022, I was becoming somebody my future self would never respect. And if I didn't change something immediately, I was going to kill my own potential. Today, I'm my own boss. I run a creative agency where I get to travel the world and work with entrepreneurs to build a personal brand. And all right, so just offer it. I started with where I was and where I am now. So it creates the gap of just like um I've been able to achieve something. 2025, we had our first 6-figure year, but it wasn't always like this. I grew up seeing two paths in life. I guess I should have played that part, but yeah. So where I was versus results I'm getting now. So now it's a gap. Now I'm about to go through and explain the gap. You risk your freedom for fast money, or you work a job that you hate just to survive. And I never wanted either one. See, I always had dreams of becoming a successful businessman, running multi-million-dollar companies and taking care of my family. I just never had. All right, so just like, all right, so I said I always had dreams of becoming a successful businessman, running multi-million-dollar companies, taking care of my family. I just never had the blueprint. That's something a lot of people can relate to. I'm sure. Would y'all relate to that?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
People where I'm from, I became a product of my environment. By 2019, I dropped out of college. I was sleeping on my sister's couch. At the same time, I was working ballet, shooting music videos, and selling weed. And if you really look at it, I was living all three paths at the same time. And then 2020 hit, and I got laid off. So I leaned into what was paying me the most, the weed and the lifestyle that came with it. I was getting money from the outside. It looked lit. But at the same time, I was high every day, paranoid, anxious, and making decisions that pulled me further and further away from the person that I said I want to become. And then there was a night I will never forget. I was at a 2022 New Year's party, getting high like usual. And then I took a shot, and out of nowhere, I felt like I was drifting into the sunken place. I got dizzy, super anxious. It just felt like I was trapped in my own body. So I had my cut. I went upstairs. I laid down, and I felt paralyzed, just staring at the ceiling. It was in that moment that I knew if I don't make a change right now, I'm going to become the exact opposite of who I always wanted to be. As I reflect back on that night, it makes me realize your dreams are born from your pain. That's why I wanted more in the first place. But your habits are born from your condition. And if you don't rewrite the condition, it will quietly override your dream. And that's exactly what was happening to me. And it was that night that forced me to close the gap. So I changed my habits. I rewrote my condition, and I bet it all on myself. Fast forward to the present. In 2025, my business did 139K in revenue, helping other entrepreneurs who also did the work to escape their conditioning. Although I haven't reached a full vision yet, I'm finally walking the path that I chose for myself. Right. So in this video, it's a few different nuances, but essentially what I'm doing is relating to my audience. I'm being authentic and sharing my story, giving people a chance to connect, and I'm also positioning or let's just say just like subtle flexing, a little bit of flexing, right? So showing how much my business made, showing the people I'm associated with, and things of that nature. So like all of this builds trust, right? So with my content, the way I see content is just building relationships at scale, right? So my whole goal is just to relate, right? Relate, build trust, show people that I'm somebody who they can, who, how do I say that? Worth the investment, right? I'm giving them a reason to buy into me and what I do. So it's not always about going viral or getting the most attention. The way I see it is building relationships, connecting, building trust, and showing people that I'm credible. So yeah, all of that goes into perceived value. And then when you effectively increase your perceived value, then it's like people, they won't even question the price, right? Or it creates more of a demand and a desire for who you are and what you have to offer.